about it than I do.
That's a humble spirit to come. That's a humble to spirit. It takes humility to say that. I only know as much as the Lord allows me to know, but to recognize that you're gonna be of a humble spirit. All right. Now, what you have to understand is what love is in accordance to the scriptures. Love is actually, but love. You know, there's certain words, the adjectives, certain words what's the word? Are doing words, action words. For instance, if I say jump, is an action word.
Right.
Love is under the same banner as jump. It's an action word. It's a doing.
Yeah.
It's a doing term. It's a means of doing. Now, what the scripture says, I'll go to 2 John 1:6. What the scripture actually says about the word love is you have to understand what it says. Yeah, okay, you've told me to do this. What does this mean? What does it mean? And not only what does it mean to my mind, because the scripture says the heart is desperately wicked. What does it mean to my mind? What does it mean to the scriptures? What does it mean in the basis? All right, so that's what we're going to see. Okay. So you're going to see what it means within the scriptures is completely different to what people will have you believe. All right? So this is book of 2 John for edification's sake.
What you, Joseph?
2 John 1:6. And this is love. So what is love? This is love.
Right.
And this is love, right? That we walk after his commandments. That's love. That's love in the scriptures, to walk after his commandments. So if you ain't following the Lord's statutes, commandments of the Lord, if you're an Israelite, all right, because it's not for everybody. If you're an Israelite, which I can't tell you if you are or you're not. I can't tell you. I haven't got a spiritual sense thing that's going to have me map out your lineage going back onto the foundations of the earth. I can't tell you that. Only you and the Most High is going to know that. All right. So if you have a zeal for the Most High, all right, namely you believe that there is a God, or do you believe that there is a God?
I did, but I don't anymore.
All right. So that's
because something happened.
All right, but see, okay. that's your situation. I can only have this conversation for the purposes of edification. Yeah. So people, when they see this, they get the understanding of the scriptures. All right. Okay. So this is back in the book of 2 John 1:6. It says, "And this is love, that we walk after His commandments." Right. This is the commandments that you've heard from the start. Right. This is commandments that you have heard from the beginning. Walking in them. So that's love. So when people talking about, oh, you gotta have love for one another. What is love? Well, this is love, that we walk after his commandments. So when you're saying love your brother, or walk after the commandments of the scriptures with your brother, so your brother goes off, you're supposed to say, look, you're going off within the scriptures, man. So if I go a fellow Hebrew Israelite and he ain't growing his beard, he's supposed to grow his beard, man. That's love. Right? And guess what? If he's doing something that, because certain laws within the scriptures say the judgment of that is death. All right. If he's doing something unto death, you're supposed to put him to death. According to the law. I'm not saying do that. I'm not saying do that. No. We're living in times where the Lord's not in power. So when the Lord comes back, that's actually going to be institutionalized. But what's beautiful is the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans are going to be born with the Lord's commandments in their minds, so they're not going to do that. All right. But if King David was on the throne right now, all right, and the man committed adultery, King David himself, which was a man after the Lord's heart, will order it for that man to be put to death. That's what the scripture says. That's love.
No, that's not love.
Yeah, but see, I've just read it within the scripture.
I've just forgive that way.
Yeah, but there's certain laws that are unforgivable. There's certain laws which the Lord said you can't forgive that. You can't forgive a guy that's gonna sleep with your wife. You can't do that. The Lord said that's
why
because that's against the scriptures.
Forgive that way.
There's a criteria and if it falls outside, there's a criteria that falls under forgiveness, and there's outside of that. Hey, I'll give you an example. There's certain instances when the Lord committed instant judgment, right? Ananias and his wife got instant judgment. They didn't get forgiven. They were taking certain part of the money, right, that was supposed to go out to everybody. They were putting it in their pocket, right? And when it was manifested onto the rest of the apostles, guess what happened? He said you was gonna drop dead right there and then. That's the judgment. That's what happened, man. That's what happened. They got instant judgment. They didn't get forgiven. They got instant judgment. The Lord ain't about not judging people. There's certain instances where you're gonna get forgiveness, but not everybody's gonna have. You can't walk around sleeping with man's woman saying, I'm going to get forgiveness. That's wicked. That's off. You're going to get to death for that.
There's no merciful God then.
Well, there's a balance. There is a balance. Sometimes he's
But he's
merciful.
not the merciful God that we talk about in church. is he?
No, because
right,
that guy
okay.
is way
Right.
too merciful.
No, I'm not
Because that guy
saying
will,
you're wrong. I'm just-
the guy in church is going to forgive you for everything. But that's because that's another Jesus. All right.
Is there?
Well, the scripture talks about how there was going to come forth many antichrists, man. All right, the scripture talks about how you're going to get many antichrists, all right, that were going to come forth in the earth, and they want to push a different doctrine as other than
What,
described within the
Talking
scriptures.
about Satan.
Oh yeah. See when
that's
when
present as
Esau,
well.
right? When Esau, which is the so-called white man, in accordance to the scriptures, came into power, he started putting forth things contrary to the scriptures. All right, namely putting up Cesare Borgia, all right, which is not how the Lord looks like. Right, the Lord is not a so-called white person with stringy hair. No, the scriptures talks about him being a man of color. That's what the scripture says. You can hate me, you can hate me till the cows go home for saying that, but that's what the scripture says. All right.
But it came from the Middle East, didn't it, Jesus? So
Well, he did, but the people that were in the Middle East, right, were dark-skinned people.
Exactly, yeah.
They were dark-skinned because going back onto the Babylonians were dark-skinned people. They're the people out there in the Sudan right now. The Sudanese, if I'm not mistaken with my history, I think it's either the Sudanese or the Ethiopians, but one of them.
But does it really matter?
Well, it does, for truth's sake. It's for truth's sake. Like I said, if someone's telling you, if you got children,
I haven't got children.
sorry?
I haven't got children.
Okay, let's say you had great grandchildren,
Right.
just for the purposes of this example, and they have a picture of me as their great granddad, and you saw that, you're gonna feel some way about that, because it's not you.
Right, okay. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How much more so the Lord? It doesn't matter. Ultimately, they're still your great grandchildren. They still are. Whether I show them a picture of myself as being their great grandchildren, you're still their forefather. How much more so the Lord, right? Being His image being misconstrued, right, into a lie. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to understand you.
All right.
I just don't see that it matters what colour
Well, it does matter. It's for truth's sake.
okay,
It's for truth's sake.
so-
All right. But pretty much, you've seen what love is in accordance to the scriptures. So, hey, I was proving. I was getting on to these scriptures. This was the scaring, because that guy came up. He said this, right? He said the Gentiles was going to be four corners of the earth, right? But the Gentiles really was Israelites that were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Right, they were Israelites that were scattered
Like
throughout
the
the four corners.
Jews,
The
yeah.
Jews,
Okay.
right? But really, it was all of Israel, because all of Israel was scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. All right.
Israel reclaimed land from Palestine.
No, that's not the
after
real
Second
Israelites.
World War.
That's not the real Israelites.
Right, okay.
That's not the real Israelites.
Something different.
All right. So this Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, on the 64th verse, and it says, "And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people." Right. So the true Israelites were going to be scattered amongst all people. Right. And it says, "From one end of the earth, even unto another end of the earth." All right. So when the Lord was going to bring these Gentiles from all over the four corners of the earth, they were going to be Israelites. It wasn't going to be different nations. Now they might look like different nations, but it wasn't going to be different nations. Does that make sense?
Oh,
So basically, when the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans like to do a few things, all right? They like to eat and they like to make children, right? If they were in Italy with the Italian women there, they're gonna make children with the Italian women. That's why you have the Sicilians. The Sicilians are direct descendant of the Negroes. Now they might look white in appearance, but their lineage goes back onto the Israelites, the Negroes. All right? That's why it says from one end of the earth even onto the other end of the earth. It's all about the lineage, all about the line, all about the father's line. All right? That's all that matters. Whether your father's line goes back onto the man Israel.
right, so if you haven't got that line, you don't count.
You're gonna be in a. It's gonna be
What's going to
difficult.
happen then if you're not from that?
Well, the
lineage?
scripture says them people gonna be in slavery.
Who's going to be?
Everyone, everybody other than Israelites is going to be in
Right.
slavery, because you're in slavery to the elite banking families right now. You know
That's
about the Rothschilds,
Yeah.
right? The
We're being
Rockefellers.
controlled by money. Right,
Exactly.
okay, right, so that's
Exactly.
what
That
you mean.
monetary system is based upon debt. Now, a famous
But
man.
aren't we all controlled by that?
Oh, but here's what I'm saying. You're in a debt-based society. If you want to get a house, what you have to get? You have to get a mortgage. If you want to get a car, you have to get a loan for it. You have to be in debt. Here's what I forget who exactly quoted the quote. He said, "Kings deal with gold, noblemen with silver, and slaves deal with debt." Does that make sense? That's a very famous quote.
Because we're slaves.
Because you're a slave to the elite banking families. The elite banking families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, deal with gold and silver, right? Their direct people underneath them will deal with gold and silver, right? As for the rest of us, you deal with debt because you are a slave to the elite banking families, all right? But those elite banking families are going to be slaves to the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, all right? Everybody's gonna be a slave because those can be.
When will that happen?
That could happen is hopefully tomorrow.
Really?
Hopefully tomorrow. Hey, I'm gonna be a king. I would like to be a king. Right. So for me, it couldn't come any sooner.
Oh, there's always hope.
Oh, yeah. Oh, if you're a descendant of one of the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, of course it is. Even if you don't make it on the first time round,
so they're going to be kings.
They're going to be the new kings. They're going to be the new kings. That's spoken about. The book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter on the 44th verse. All right, let me get it right quick. It says Daniel 2 and 44. It says, and in the days of these kings, so the Most High set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and that kingdom the kingdom shall not be left to other people. So it ain't gonna be left to these different nations. It's gonna be for the Israelites. But those different nations, all right, as you're gonna see, I'm gonna put it out in the book of Revelations. Those different nations are gonna be slaves. All right, so if you're not an Israelite, you're gonna be a slave.
Well, when you're the king, remember me.
All right, man. You're all right.
Okay,
man. All right. That's the funniest thing I've heard all day. All right, but this is Daniel. It could have been a Jake, man. Because hey, Jake might say some crazy dumb shit like that, man. Right, so this is the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter on the 44th verse. It says, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, right? And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So Jake's gonna stand forever, man. All right, we shall be a kingdom that shall never go end. We ain't gonna be left to other people to rule our kingdom as we did in the past. And in the past, you've seen all of these different nations roll up in there, all right, and pretty much they defiled the sanctuary, man. They set themselves up as rulers and noblemen. Now you got the peasants being rulers, man. The Bowers being rulers, man. Of which there were peasants when we was in rulership, but see now the Most High is finna to come back. He's gonna set things all right. This is my noble people. All right, this is my royalty. All right, the rest of these people now. They're gonna be subjects, man. All right, you get that in the book of Revelations, the 13th chapter on the 9th verse, man. All right, it's Revelations 13 and 9. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So just as we was led, Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, to be subjects underneath Esau, that's how he's going to be led to be subjects. But see, it's going to be even harder for this guy, because this guy is going to have it to where he's going to have the worstest thing that could ever happen to him, man. All right, he's going to be. The scripture talks about how he's going to receive double, man. All right, so he's going to receive a double portion of what we received. All right, so that he's going to be in a state of even deeper judgment, man. All right, so back in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter on the 9th verse, it says, right, if any man have an ear, let him hear. All right, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So you're gonna be made into a slave. All right, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So the saints, man, they're looking forward to that, man. Right, that's what they're looking forward to. That's what they're patient and their faith. That's what they're looking forward to, man. That's what they're waiting for, man. All right. Let me get into some other precepts, man. All right. Now I believe I was if I got sidetracked. Fuck it, I'll switch gears, man. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. Switch gears, man. Right, because you got it to where pretty much these people, man, if they can't obtain the salvation for themselves, if I was telling these different Edomites and they're going to be saved, man, and they were the people of the Most High, they don't have no problem with that, man. All right? But you got it to where now you got the scum of the earth as far as they're concerned, because the scripture did say in the book of Job how we become a byword and a proverb, which I'm going to get that after I get Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter and the 6th verse. All right? As long as you are a byword and a proverb to these guys, that's all right, man. All right? That's okay. All right, but see, the minute you start telling these different Edomite nations and these different nations that you are royalty and you are people of whom the Most High is going to set up to be rulers, they got a problem with that. You know why? Because they got that deep-rooted hatred for the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, man. They got that deep-rooted hatred going back onto the time of Esau and Jacob, when Esau and Jacob were fighting within the womb of Sarah, man. All right. Because them two different nations were going to be separated because they were different people, man. All right? Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter and the 6th verse says, "For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy power, and the Lord hath chosen thee." So the Lord he chose the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. He could have chose Ammon, he could have chose Moab, he could have chose Edom, but he chose the tribe of Israel. The tribe of Israel, which are the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. As much as and as uncomfortable as it makes you Edomites, man. But see, from the time you see Jake rising up, all right, and you can read about that in the Book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. That's when Esau really started trying to push forth this thing of this new world order, man. But see, as we seen in the Book of Job, right, the 18th chapter, the more you was gonna push it, the more difficult it was gonna become, man. All right, and really, you ain't gonna achieve that so-called new world order because why? Because the Most High's got other plans for you, man. You're gonna be a slave, man. All right, you're gonna be subject to the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans that you have in the derision that you hate so goddamn much, man. All right, see, but that's the beauty of the scriptures. All right, that goes back onto what it says in 2 Thessalonians 1:6, seeing it is a righteous thing unto the Most High to recompense them that trouble you, man. All right. It says, "For thou art a holy people unto the Most High, and the Lord has chosen thee to be a special people to himself above all people upon the face of the earth." Okay, now I said I was going to get Job, the 20th chapter, rather Job 30th chapter, all right, to see the state that we've descended to, man. All right, we become, hey, the man King Solomon, he said it best, man. He said, I seen a new thing on the earth. All right, I seen servants upon horses, man. I wish these guys, they're rolling around in their nice fancy car. They're subjects, man. They ain't supposed to be in a state of, you don't even know how to do with all that power, man. Well, that's why they all out there doing all kind of wickedness, because they're going crazy with that level of power. They weren't built for that, man. All right, but see, when Jake's in power, what is he doing, man? Flashing out, man. That's why you get it to where these different rappers and so on and so forth, they get that money. They want to live royal like how they lived for thousands of years. They want to live like that lifestyle, but see, they can't maintain that because we ain't in that time, man. All right, because this is the time to where, hey, we're the spittle of this earth. But see, the spittle's gonna come forth, and it's gonna be the king, man. It's gonna be manifested as the rulers and the land to which the Most High still delights, man. All right. Job the 30th chapter and the first verse, it says, "And them that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to set the flocks, the dogs of my flocks." So Job was like, "Look, I ain't having these Edomites sleep in the same area as the dogs, man, because they'll defile the dog, man, because they're nasty people." All right. It says there, "Yeah, whereunto my strength my profit me, in whom age perished for want of famine. They were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness," right? Fleeing into the wilderness in the former time, desolate and waste. So it will chase them up, because you have them so-called Jews around you, man. They will try to steal everything that you got, man. All right, so them guys were kicked out there into the wilderness, man. But see, the Most High set it up to whilst they was in the wilderness, they started building up their strength, eating up the juniper roots and so on and so forth, eating up, eating off the land. They started getting physically strong, man. All right, and that's how they came back into power. That was the foundation of them coming back into power. All right, who cut up the mallows of the bushes and juniper roots for their meat, and they were driven forth from among men, and they cried after them as after a thief. All right, because them so-called Jews come around you, that's a thief, man. You gotta watch yourself around them, man. All right, they'll be scheming. Hey, Scripture talks about how it was peace, but in his mouth, but swords were drawn, something to that avail. All right. It says here, and they were driven forth from among men, and they cried out as after a thief to dwell in the clefts of the rock, in the valleys, in the caves, and in the rocks. And that gives you a clue as to who is talking about right there, man. All right? And it says, and amongst the bushes they braid, and amongst the nettles they gather together. They were children of fools, right? Children of base men. They were viler than the earth. And now I'm their song, and I am their byword. All right? So we become a byword to these guys that we done chased into the bushes in the former time, man. Right? But then the Lord has done it, see, because we went off of the Lord's statute commandment to the Most High. The Lord's done taken away that spirit to where we was rulers now. The Lord's got it to where we're subjects underneath these base men. All right? But see, the script's going to be flipped right back up to where it's supposed to be, man. And we're going to be back into that state of rulership and godliness, man. All right? It says, and now I am their song, and I am their byword, and they abhor me, and they flee far from me. All right? So let me get that in the Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. All right, this is Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. It says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before such as afflicted him, right, and made no account of his labors. All right, and when they shall see it, they shall be troubled. So these, this guy's had us in all kind of hardcore, laborers captivity and all that. The Lord's got it to where, man, right? You're gonna have it to where the righteous is gonna stand in great boldness. Why? Because the Spirit of the Lord is gonna be upon the elect, man. You're gonna come out here. We was gonna come out here in the boldness of Yahweh Shai, man. All right, so we were gonna come bold, and Esau was gonna see that, man. He's gonna feel a certain type of way about that. But not only that, even these guys out here within these different camps, they was gonna see that the Spirit of the Lord was upon the men of the Lord. All right, and they was gonna be jealous to a certain extent about that, man, because they didn't receive the Spirit, so they was gonna do the job that they were set forth to do, which was to scoff. All right. It says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. And when they shall see it, they shall be troubled, and terrible fear shall